Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to another day, another opportunity to create balance. So let's go. Starting below your eyes, grounding your energies. And if you're not already bringing your attention to how you're feeling, we'll tap here for a little bit longer today. Just noticing, how do the points physically feel? Perhaps there may be a little bit of soreness. If there is any soreness, that's a good message for you, telling you that there's probably a bit of congestion in the energies. And certainly if this one is making you feel better somehow, maybe you notice you are feeling more grounded, or just in other ways you might notice, I'm feeling like the cobwebs have cleared, then that is telling you that you needed this one. Certainly a good one to do in the morning. And then we come below the collarbone, about an inch or so below the middle, you have a dip here. That's the end of your kidney meridian. So this is a great one to do more of if you're feeling tired. The last couple of nights I've slept a bit less, as it's the time of the month for me. So if you've had a bit of a rough night, not as many hours sleep, you might spend more time tapping here, perhaps slow it down, make it a bit easier, might feel gentler as well. And sometimes if I'm quite tired, I might be sitting reading a book or doing something with one hand, and I'll use just one hand to stay on my kidney points for 5 minutes or longer, really giving myself a good boost. And then we come to the middle of the chest for your thymus thumb. You could use either your fingertips, or sometimes people like the way it feels when you make a fist and really thump. Or you could even do a Tarzan approach with both hands, really going for it. But being mindful of what feels good to you, because this might feel like too much. It might feel nicer to go quite gently. And then the final thump of the 4 thumps is spleen, of course. So we have 2 possible locations, about halfway down the rib cage, at the side of the body, also at the front. And a lot of the time people find they like to just move back and forth between the 2 spots. And notice how it's feeling. There might be a place that's a little bit more sore. Again, just like I said, on the stomach point, likewise in other areas on your body. If there's any soreness, that's telling you there's probably some congestion in your energies. Okay, so relaxing your arms and taking a moment to check in with yourself, noticing how you're feeling after the 4 thumps. And we're going on to crossovers next. So we'll do shoulder pulls first. So reaching and then smoothing from the shoulder down to your opposite hip. And then repeating on the other side. And now we go on to the cross crawl. So bringing one leg up, tapping with the other hand, and continuing that alternating. And remember, everything we're doing can be done either seated or standing. So just do what feels good to you. Perhaps think, what's going to make this the most fun for me? What will make this experience the most enjoyable? And it might be you want to sit down so that you can just sit and be and be a bit more relaxed in that way. Or maybe you want to stand sometimes, get your body moving a bit more. And now slowing down the pace, bringing the crossing to a close, and again checking in, noticing. Can you feel any differences now that you have really boosted your crossovers? Now we go to the Wayne Cook next. So crossing one leg over the other, bringing your arms out, palms out, folding like this, and coming underneath. And taking several deep breaths on this side of the body. Sometimes when you're balancing your energies, it can be really lovely and beneficial to bring in your consciousness and statements of affirmations. So one thing that pops into my head now is to invite you, as we just gently allow our energies to unscramble, so while you're holding this weighing cup, to either think in your mind or you could say out loud, I am grateful for balance. And let's switch and do the other side. So crossing your legs the other way. And again, taking several deep breaths in. And maybe bringing in some more affirmations. You may have a favourite of your own, or you could introduce something like, I deserve to be unscrambled all day in every way. And once you've completed 4 or 5 breaths, bringing your fingers and thumbs together, resting your thumbs above your nose at your third eye, taking a breath here, and then resting your fingers on your forehead and dragging over to your temples. We're going to go into the crown pull exercise, where we continue stretching. So coming across maybe an inch or two on your scalp. Sometimes it might feel nicer to stretch a bit more. So you could experiment and see what's it like if I come further over on my scalp. This is all about making space. So we're clearing stuck energy here. And you continue all the way round the back of your head. And then once you reach your neck, doing the sides of the neck, so don't press on the spine itself, but the sides of the neck, a lot of energy can get stuck there. And maybe as you arrive there now, you think, oh, that feels a bit sore. It might be a good soreness, like when you have a nice massage, and moving away that stuck energy. Certainly, if there's any soreness, then I recommend doing this several times, and perhaps introducing more crown pulls throughout the day. Let's do another one together now. So shaking your hands off, releasing any excess energy back to the earth, and then coming up to your forehead and beginning the stretching again. Noticing, does your crown feel any different? This time you might feel that it feels really nice to use more pressure. It's possible it might feel nicer to use less pressure, but the majority of the time at this point, because there's likely to be more space in your energies, for most people, the majority of the time, more pressure would probably feel nice. And then pulling the energy down and off at the front, shaking your hands off, moving away as much as is possible for your highest good at this time. Taking a moment to tune in, checking in again, noticing, are there any places in your body where you feel different? When we make space at the crown, that can often not only make space up at the head, but it can help to make space around the entire body. Next, we will zip up. So imagine you're wearing a jumper with a zip at the front, and it's a very cold, windy day. And if you've not got your zip zipped up, then perhaps the cold, the rain, if there's rain coming, might get inside your coat or your jumper and you get all cold and it would be uncomfortable. So energetically, this is a little bit similar. You are going to zip up your central meridian, protect yourself from outside energies. So let's go. Breathing in, coming all the way up, breathing out and bringing your arms back down. You could bring in colour, particularly if you're a visual person, you may enjoy that. So when you move your hands up, imagining beams of colour from your fingertips, and then you bring that colour through central meridian at the front of your body. And also, as you're bringing your arms down, bringing that colour through your aura around you. And you can do this zip-up movement as many times as you like. In the classic version, as Donna Eden describes it, we usually come up 3 or 4 times. But sometimes people will just do one good, sort of a slow, purposeful zip-up from the pubic bone up to the lips and ending at the lips. So you can really make it your own. And we're going to do a final time now. So next time you come up central at the front, stopping at your lips, turning your hands like a key in a lock, locking it in there. And then we go to a hook up. So placing the middle finger of one hand in your belly button, the other one above your nose. And then with both fingers, you're pushing in and pulling up with a bit of pressure. And this exercise has a lot of benefits. What it's actually doing in your energies is connecting the energies of central and governing meridians. And the meridians are energy pathways, just like a river, water flowing along the river. That's the energies that acupuncturists are working with most of the time. So you have your central meridian at the front of your body, and then governing meridian is at the back. And the hookup exercise helps them to stay connected, form a loop. And that provides a container for most of your vital organs, your intestines, your liver, and so on. Also for most of your chakras. So lots of reasons that you want to get your microcosmic orbit going. And relaxing your arms down, giving them a bit of a shake. Maybe you can feel that, sometimes holding the hook up for a little bit longer. We have probably about 45, 60 seconds. And you've helped your microcosmic orbit, this loop of energy flowing in both directions. Maybe you can feel that sense of more stability at your core. Now we're going to do connecting heaven and earth. So we begin in this prayerful position. Remember, this exercise is wonderful for making space, especially at the joints and also at the side of the body. And this is where your spleen meridian is that governs the immune system. So notice where you feel the stretch. Notice, is it in particular joints? Is it along spleen? Is it around your hips? Maybe there's energy getting stuck, hips, upper legs. So gaining information about your body and what you need. And beginning now with a deep breath in, bringing one arm palm up, the other one palm down, holding this stretch. Being mindful of where you're feeling it, and then when you're ready, breathing out, coming back to the middle, and doing the same thing on the other side. And then we do the same stretch on each side again. And this time, with it being the second time, you may find you can stretch a little bit more. Perhaps just seeing if you can reach down to the ground a bit more and reach up into the sky, another few millimeters. And the final time you breathe out, bending forwards, letting everything go like a rag doll, keeping your feet firmly on the ground. And remembering to breathe, if you haven't taken a deep breath already, even just one deep breath in, encouraging your energy to move. making as much space as possible. And now gently moving from side to side, using your arms a bit like an elephant's trunk to make figure eights, and coming back up at your own pace. And we'll add in some more figure eights here. The more figure eights in your energies, the better. And next we will do the Celtic weave. So bringing vitality and harmony within your aura. Rubbing your hands together to begin. Shaking them off. And now again, rubbing them together to build up a bit of fresh energy now. And when you open up your hands, whatever distance you'd like, you might notice some tingling or warmth, maybe a bit of prickliness, or something that lets you know, yes, there's some energy there. And then bring that energy to your head, so bathing your head area in that fresh energy. And now breathing in, bringing your elbows together and arms across. And when you breathe out, coming out to the side, we're going to weave down the body now. So in front of the waist first, then your knees and your ankles. And then rolling your aura in a circular motion, supporting it, staying really expanded. So weaving and fluffing, two of our top tools for keeping your aura big and fluffed out, like a totally protected spacesuit around you with no holes or tears or any issues at all. Okay, so now allowing your arms to just hang wherever they'd like and taking a moment again to check in, notice how you're feeling. We've completed all of Donna Eden's core exercises. And we're going to trace the radiant circuits next. So the radiant circuits, of course, are all about joy and peace. So if there's something in your life right now that's bothering you a little bit, then if you'd like, you could bring that to mind as we move through the tracing. So this is something I mentioned yesterday, and I thought I'd throw it out now. If you'd like to, perhaps pick something that's stressing you out at a level of sort of 3 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. So a small to medium stress. Maybe the washing machine is broken and you've got a backlog of laundry or something like that. And see what happens when you work with your radiant circuit energy at the same time. So we'll begin with belt flow, reaching round to your back, just as far as is comfortable, and then pulling the energy round at the waist and across over to the opposite waist 3 or 4 times, and then picking that up at the opposite waist and smoothing your hands. So moving your hands all the way down the side of your leg and off your foot. And then we do the same thing on the other side. And check in with yourself. Notice, how did that feel? Sometimes with belt flow, people can really feel it. And the same could probably be said of most exercises, but with belt flow, it's certainly one that a lot of the time people say, I could really feel that. So how was it for you? Let's do it again. So reaching over 3, 4 times, noticing, does the area feel any different? Because it's the second time, the energy might be flowing a bit better. And belt flow does tend to be one of the energy flows in the body where we can get a lot of stuck and stagnant energy sometimes. It can be a bit of a dumping ground for old energy. So sometimes people get very stuck in the belt all around here. Sometimes people will say, and maybe you can resonate with this, that they don't feel the energy from the top to the bottom of the body is flowing up and down fully. And very often that can be due to the belt flow. Or maybe the chakra system isn't connected fully. and there's not communication there, the chakras are blocked, work with belt flow. Okay, penetrating flow starts in the small of your back, behind your belly button, taking a breath in, and then when you breathe out, you're sliding down, and then breathing in and coming up and over your hips in a horseshoe. When you breathe out, you're coming down to your pubic bone. And then breathing in, coming up the midline. As you breathe out, tracing some figure eights over your mouth. So penetrating flow is the radiant circuit that really allows us to discern what we take in and allow us to take things in deeply. So a reminder there that if you're really wanting to be able to deeply take in the warmth of a particular experience, maybe an interaction with someone, or like I shared the other day, a waterfall or a sunset, then work more with penetrating flow. Okay, so we'll go on to the bridge flows next. So yin bridge begins in the power point. That's the big dip at the top of your neck. So placing one or more fingers in that power point, and then tracing up over the top of your head, resting your fingers on your forehead for a breath or two. And now moving between the eyes, down the nose, onto your cheekbones. We'll tap, tap here for a couple of seconds. A lady in a group I used to go to used to say, happy, happy, tappy, tappy. So next up below the collarbone or kidney, happy, happy, tappy, tappy. Now you're going to trace 3 hearts over your chest. And then placing your hands flat on your tummy and coming all the way down the front of your body and off your feet. Returning to standing or seated, and let's trace the yang bridge. So making horizontal figure eights about the width of your body. And we say that we want the eights about 3 or 4 inches high, but you don't have to be super precise. That's just a guideline so that your eights are not like that. They're more like so, like we're doing together. And it's nice to do at least once up and down the body. Then turning round and about turn, so your back is facing all those eights, or if you prefer, you could visualize it. Noticing how you're feeling. So having traced several radiant circuits on top of the daily core exercises, are you glad that you've made time to do these exercises? And now we're going to connect the bridge flows at the front and the back, and we do that with figure eights from the front to the back. And best practice, ideally, would be to do once from head to toe. And usually doing that will harmonise these energies. For some people, it may be that these bridge flows might not have been active forever. And that does happen sometimes. And I'll meet people whose radiant circuits, we do the energy testing, and there's not really much sparkle there, not much vitality. But after several weeks of doing them, working with them, things radically change. So that's one reason to make the time to participate in every of the 21 days of the challenge. Now we're going to go on to the regulator flows. So yin and yang regulator. Let's trace them slowly this morning. So yin regulator begins with a heart on a stick. So tracing a heart over your face, going slower than you normally would and noticing how that feels. When you're on the opposite shoulders, you smooth down to your elbows. And then smoothing all the way down the front of your body. And what did you notice? So I had a tiny little tumble rumble at the end there, and I share that because I don't always notice things like that with the regulated flows. Sometimes when you slow things down, the effect can be a bit different in your energies. So maybe you might notice that felt a little bit different and I liked it. So perhaps try all the radiant circuits at a slower pace sometimes. We'll do yang regulator now. So beginning by smoothing slowly around your ears and coming onto your shoulders to rest here for a moment. And now once again bringing your hands onto the opposite shoulders and smoothing down all the way to your elbows. And now smoothing down the back of your body and off your feet. And finally, for your vagus nerve, resting one hand on your lower belly, placing your thumb inside the belly button a little bit, just gently there. Then placing your other hand to rest at your neck, however's comfortable. So probably something a bit like this, then this arm can be totally relaxed. And holding here for a minute or so while I speak some light language. Ima, 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 ua, kana, na, 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 isana, iyo, 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 ana, usakana, isha, ala, okena, okena, ufana, ayasuka, usakana, ana, isone, afala, akala, usha, asana, aya, ukone, ala, isaka, usha, ushana, ayala, 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 ikone, asa, asapa, asapatina, asapatina, okana, isana, sasa, usaka, ifala, ukana, se. Taking several deep breaths. Noticing how you are feeling. And as one final piece, I'm delighted to get an oracle card for you with a blessing for your day. That's always the intention. Trusting in the wisdom of the universe, bringing wisdom of a message for you for the day. Spirals of manifestation. And what an absolutely stunning picture this is today. I'm sure some of you will agree. Beautiful colours here. See the spirals in many different ways. So spirals of transformation, or manifestation rather. Manifestation. What might that mean to you, and how might you apply that today? Okay. So my gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. The recording will be going up live in the next few hours, and wishing you a wondrous day, whatever you're up to. I'll see you soon.